Now, let's get into the Trump as the Messiah. Trump, looks like Trump is going to be having a resurrection, a second coming. He has been portrayed as the anointed one, as King Cyrus, as the Messiah, and I put together a little bit of compilation with some new examples of that and some very interesting things that some rabbis are talking about. Here's a guy comparing Trump to Jesus.
Before he was recognized. If you look at the history of Jesus, it was hundreds of years later before he was recognized, and that's probably the same thing that's going to happen to Donald Trump.
When you see him, the presence that he has in the room, the way he kind of commands a crowd, and the way that
he's been picked by God. Yes,
yeah. He wears lifts.
Picked by God. They all believe he's been anointed by God, chosen by God, God's chosen one.
He wears lifts in his shoes.
All the QAnon people believe he's like the Messiah that's going to save them from the satanic Khazarian pedophile cabal, the deep state. Here's not Jim Bakker, Tom Horn. This is Pastor Tom Horn on the Jim Bakker show a couple years ago, and Tom Horn wrote the book about Trump, rabbis, and the secret plan to build the third temple. Listen to what he has to say here.
2016 to 2017, Messiah will arrive. Now they're looking at Donald Trump. One of the rabbis illustrated how his name in the gematria, the numerology of his name, actually means Messiah. Now there's some weird stuff here that's going on. So think about this for a moment. In the Jewish Zohar, 700 years ago in medieval Aramaic, Orthodox Jews speculated about when will the Messiah be on the earth, right? And in the Vieira section of the Zohar, they said he will arrive on earth in the year 57, he will make himself known in the year 5773, which was 2012 to 2013. Oddly enough, Trump goes to Israel in 2012, decides not to run for U.S. president, meets with heads of states, comes out of that. You can watch the YouTube on television, and he starts talking to the Jewish people, telling them to vote for Benjamin Netanyahu and the Likud party, which they did, right? Wow. But what the Zohar said was he will be identified. From that day and forward, there have been at least a dozen Jewish rabbis that have said the Messiah is on earth now. He's been identified. He is soon going to make himself known. Well, some key things have to happen for the messianic figure in the Jewish mindset. For the Messiah to arrive, you can't think of him like we think of Messiah. We think of Messiah after the model of Jesus. He's the Son of God, divine birth, all of that. That's not the way the Jews look at the Messiah. They're looking for a king. They're looking for a political leader. As a matter of fact, Messiah to them means the anointed one, and it goes back to the ancient days when they would anoint a king and recognize him as this is the man that God sent. And what they're looking for is several things. First of all, they're looking for somebody in a political figure who can lead decisive battles in defense of Israel. This is why the only politician on the face of the earth that was standing up and saying, if I'm elected president, I'm going to be the biggest friend that Israel's ever had. We're going to undo the Iran deal, well, blah, 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 right? And being a friend of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Blah, 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 right?
They're looking for, when the Messiah comes, there will be an ingathering of Jews from around the world back into the Holy Land. That's why the rabbis, on the eve of his election, went on television and said, we need to call now Jews from around the world, come back to Jerusalem because the Messiah is here, right?
Yes.
There's another thing. Thirdly, they talk about when he arrives, he is going to reinstitute the temple service. So what was the second thing they did? They called on Trump and Putin to use their power to rebuild the temple and to reinstitute the temple service. They have identified somebody. I mean, there could be a few rabbis there that think he's the Messiah. The other third key is he has to be of the Davidic dynasty. He has to be of the Davidic bloodline. And there is an effort right now to go back through the European monarchy, cousins of President Donald Trump, to show that his bloodline goes back to the Davidic dynasty. I'm just saying there's something very strange here that's going on, and everything I'm saying can be verified. Multiple news agencies, the Jerusalem Post, Breaking Israel News, they're all talking about this right now. Wow. So they too believe that we are in the end times. They too believe that the Messiah is about to appear. We would say the second coming is about to happen, but their Messiah is going to be a false Messiah. He's going to be the Antichrist, right?
So here's Rabbi Shapira.
So I went to the Jewish deli, and of course we had the discussion on Trump. I asked them, who is Trump to you? And you know what they said? Trump is our new Messiah, actually.
The Jews at the deli say Trump is their new Messiah.
We have a president that has been the best president in the history of the United States towards the Jews and towards Israel. No question about it. No president was nice to the Jews and to Israel more than him.
You know, we just gave the embassy in Jerusalem, making Jerusalem the capital of Israel. I just gave Golan Heights, recognized Golan Heights for Israel. I've done all of this for Israel. We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
Trump, and this is the greatest president for Jews and for Israel in the history of the world, not just America. Trump's the best president for Israel in the history of the world.
This is Wayne Allen Root, the Jewish Christian that is hosting the fourth hour now on InfoWars. The guy that believes Trump is the Messiah to the King of Israel, he calls him.
And the Jewish people love him like he is the King of Israel. They love him like he is the second coming of God.
I am the chosen one.
I am come in my Father's name, and ye received me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive.
Interesting. I was visiting Jonathan in his Jewish voice, so I went to the Jewish deli. And of course, we had the discussion on Trump. I asked them, who is Trump to you? And you know what they said? Trump is our new Messiah, actually. They want to believe that Trump is the Messiah. What I think is happening here is God using Donald Trump to hasten the coming of the Lord. This is really what is happening here. And we need to be stay tuned because he's lining up with Israel right now in a major way.
I'm going to give you a name of somebody. You come back and give me one name or one descriptive word. Trump.
Don't take this wrong. But remember, I'm Jewish, and a Messiah is, in Judaism, is the person who would bring the one true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to the world. A Messiah means a great leader, a great prophet. I believe that Donald J. Trump is a Messiah for what's called the New Jerusalem, which is the United States of America. He was it, and he opened everybody's eyes. That's the only way I could describe him. He's a prophecy fulfilled.
What I believe is the one who's going to switch from Yahweh to Yavoid is Donald Trump. He will turn America from Yahweh to Yavoid, because everything he says indicates that. He's going to really be a tremendous president in the United States. Tremendous. He's going to stand up to all the nations of the world. He's going to side with Israel when he realizes that they cannot make peace with Israel, as I've said before, because it's theologically impossible. And that's why I believe, remember I said that the Gematria of Donald Trump is Gematria Mashiach ben David? You know what that means? He, I believe, is the Mashiach of Edom. The Mashiach is nothing more than an anointed one, right? That completely reverses the order of something. Trump, I believe, is the Messiah of Edom, of Esau. And therefore, he will take them from Yahweh to Yavoid, from someone who afflicts Israel to someone who will assist them. And believe me, he's going to be fabulous with the Jewish people.
And you don't have to say, well, I don't know, what's he at, where's he at, I don't like the way you talk. I understand all that, but the thing is that we're talking about God's purposes. That's what we're talking about. God uses whom he'll use. But he was used. He also was used very powerfully for Jerusalem. Jerusalem, recognizing Jerusalem. He's the first modern leader, first leader since ancient times who recognized Jerusalem, as that. He was used in some very, very important ways.
What I believe is that, this is a quote from him, he says, what I believe is that the one who is going to switch from Esau from persecuting the Jews to Esau who is serving the Jews is Donald Trump. Rabbi Kessin claims he is going to purify Edom.
I want to promise you one thing. If Trump was the president right now, we would be able to win 10 times faster and 10 times better against our Nazi enemies. He would give us any weapon we want, unconditional. He wouldn't care what the world is barking about. He would shut down these European liberals and tell them just be quiet. I run the show here.
Don't forget, I don't know if you haven't watched the show, I happen to be Jewish by birth, and 75% of all Jews vote Democrat, and they don't like Trump. And this is the greatest president for Jews and for Israel in the history of the world, not just America. Trump's the best president for Israel in the history of the world, and the Jewish people love him like he is the king of Israel. They love him like he is the second coming of God.
I am the chosen one.
I am the chosen one.
This was a special token of affection given by myself and the First Lady to Prime Minister and the First Lady of Israel. And it's a key, we call it a key to the White House, and it's a key to our country and to our hearts. And you've been an amazing leader for a long period of time, and this is, in many respects, the big day, because this is something that's very special. And we just left UAE and Bahrain. We're going to meet outside in a ceremony, and it's just a very important event, and it's an honor to have you with us, baby. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I have said, and this is true, that you have the key to the hearts of the people of Israel because of all the great things you've done for the Jewish state and the Jewish people. So thank you.
You know, there are prophets that say the world will come to an end in the Middle East. You know that, right? Presented to President Donald J. Trump for his extraordinary and heroic efforts, I like that very much, to help the state of Israel and the Jewish people. He and his family should be blessed eternally from the Israel Heritage Foundation, July 10th, 2023. I want to thank you, Rabbi. That's right. Thank you.
Something. It's a little present. The head rabbi of Ukraine.
They want you to mail
and some of the rabbis in Israel. I'm so
they want everybody at this table.
Thankful for what
they
you
don't
do.
understand the cost of it because they're inefficient.
In the Hebrew religion, they wait for the Messiah to come.
Wow.
So the Messiah, Moshe ben David, if you take their name, written, you see where it adds up, 424. If you take your name, Donald Trump, and then there's your name, it adds up to 424. It's something that is very, very unbelievable.
What does that mean?
It's like you have the same numbers than Messiah, you know.
It's like meaning good, right?
Yeah, it's like not good. It's like best. It's like miracle.
Why 424? Why is it?
It's like name of Messiah, you know.
That's his name, Messiah. The Messiah comes out to 424.
What are the numbers you have?
No, it's not the numbers.
It's exactly the number.
Your name, and the numbers, it adds up to his name. It's 424 in the Jews. So it's like Messiah is the person that's come to save the whole world. So it's like you're the savior being there. That's for you a blessing.
It's amazing. We just thought we're like, wow. It's amazing, you know.
It can't hurt. It can't hurt.
So, all Jew people of Ukraine, they're praying of you, you know. They're like.
Show it to Jared. He'll explain. Good.
It's like.
Saudi Arabia, which is also notable, as he walks by himself up to the Western Wall. Let's listen.
Notable as he walks by himself up to the Western Wall. Let's listen.
And only Micronesia is rooting for us. When the stars don't fish my Marlene, don't you worry, Trump existing. Is Jerusalem's green, to the sky in the reach, hallelujah, from the city of Zion, for
And I got to tell you, the turning point of this election is when Donald Trump and I stood by the grave of, and there's a picture of me and Donald Trump making prayers, at the grave of Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson. That's the moment when this election was decided.
Of course.
Through pure Zionistic laser power, that is when this election turned. Boom. Check out the polls. October 7th, 2024.
I will curse those, right, who curse you?
Yeah. Correct. There you go. God coming through once again. I had a going theory that I told some friends before this, that God definitely wants Donald Trump to win. I've been saying this for a while, that God clearly wants Donald Trump to win. There's only one reason: God turns Trump's head right at the last minute, and the bullet misses him by this much. Now I'm just, pretty optimistic at this point. I got to say, I'm enjoying the evening. The enjoyment portion of this evening has officially begun. It's now a Jewish holiday. That's right. It went from tragedy to triumph. That's right. It's time to break out some symbolic rituals. It's time to eat some kosher food. It's time to imbibe, and it's time to speak some Yiddish.
We have no prophecy today. God does not articulate his plans through the mouths of human beings, but he has other ways of communicating. I'm no prophet, and I could be wrong, but it seems obvious to me that on Shabbat, July 13th, in Butler, Pennsylvania, and in front of the eyes of the entire world, God's voice was heard loud and clear to anyone whose ears were open, and he chose the second non-Jewish Messiah. President Trump's right ear was grazed in a symbolic gesture of Exodus 21:6, where the Torah states that a servant who wants to remain with his master needs to have his right ear pierced. Trump was designated as God's servant and anointed one, just like Cyrus the Great almost 2,400 years ago. And I have good reason to believe Donald Trump was chosen to be the one to redeem the sins of Esav through offering his assistance in rebuilding the Holy Temple on the Temple Mount and establishing the Jewish kingdom over all of mankind in Jerusalem.
About a month after he came down from the escalator saying he would run, for whatever reason, I realized, wait a minute, he is Esav doing tshuva. And therefore, he will do incredible things for the Jewish people. And not only that, but he will win. And the President of the United States is an emperor of Rome, because the U.S. is part of Esav, right? Part of Edom, part of Rome, and so on. And that's basically who he is. So that's who Trump is. He is really a messianic figure. He is a messianic figure in terms of Edom or Esav. In fact, I once mentioned that the gematria of Donald Trump is 424, which is the gematria exactly of Mashiach ben David. So he is a non-Jew who's part of the process of bringing the Mashiach. His job in that capacity is to remove evil from the world. I mean, it's unbelievable what God has done for Trump, how many ways he saved the man. I believe that what's equivalent to the splitting of the Red Sea is the U.S. government arrayed against Trump, trying to destroy him to the extent where a quarter of an inch closer to his head would have killed him. You see, that is the power and the might of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Trump has a mission. That's what it tells us. So this reporter raises his hand and he says to Trump, by the way, why do you think God saved you? I think Trump was taken aback. So Trump says to him, please repeat the question out loud. That's what he said. Why? Because he probably wanted everybody to hear his answer. You see? So he wanted to make sure that everybody hears it. So he repeated the question out loud. You know what Trump answered? I'll tell you. What he should have answered was MAGA, Make America Great Again. Basically, that's his campaign promise. He didn't say that. Do you know what he said? He said, maybe God wants me to save the world because the world is going downhill. That is a messianic answer. So he recognizes that there's a divine mission, not only for America, but for the entire world. Trump won, and he crushed evil. That means that the window shut, and the gates that opened up the messianic light opened. He's going to change America. He's going to change the world. Not only is he make America great, He's going to end the Arab-Israeli war. You have no idea what Trump is going to do to this world. So we are looking at a victory of good that has never been seen before, except by Mitzrayim or by Matan Torah and so on. This is messianic, and this is a fulfillment of the messianic process. But you have to understand what Trump is going to do. He's going to end the Arab-Israeli war permanently. Not only that, he's going to bring Saudi Arabia together with Israel. And once Saudi Arabia, which is the main concept of Islam, that's the end of the Arab problem. Because then all the Arab nations will join because they all want to be protected by Trump. The whole concept of Trump winning miraculously and then being removed because of satisfying justice, which is identical to Egypt. That's where the model is. You know, nobody can believe it. Of course, they're all saying, well, Trump ran a great campaign. Nonsense. It has nothing to do with his campaign. He doesn't even understand why he's still standing, let alone win to be the president. Because this is all part of the plan of God to assist, and therefore in the end, to assist Mashiach ben Yosef. And in the end, what we're going to see is unbelievable. The prophecy of Rav Yavoy Tzoy, the older will serve the younger, that is the beginning of redemption. And guess what? It happened on November 5th, Tuesday.
1980s, Benjamin Netanyahu became good friends with American real estate developers Charles Kushner and Fred Trump. Kushner's son, Jared, went on to marry Fred's granddaughter, Ivanka Trump. Jared has been talking about the valuable real estate in Gaza for a few years.
In Gaza's waterfront property, it could be very valuable.
In May of 2024, the Jerusalem Post publishes an image of Netanyahu's Gaza 2035 vision. In October of 2024, candidate Trump said that Gaza could be better than Monaco.
It could be better than Monaco. It has the best location in the Middle East, the best water, the best everything. It is the best. I've said it for years. I mean, it could be the most beautiful place. The weather, the water, the whole thing, the climate, it could be so beautiful.
On his inauguration day, President Trump began discussing Gaza in terms of valuable real estate.
You know, Gaza is interesting. It's a phenomenal location. On the sea, the best weather. You know, everything's good. It's like some beautiful things could be done with it, but it's very interesting. But some fantastic things could be done with Gaza.
How do you see the future in governance for Gaza?
Well, it depends. I can't imagine you could have, well, you certainly can't have the people that were there. Most of them are dead.
On February 4th, he referred to Gaza as the Riviera of the Middle East.
Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent. I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so this could be so magnificent.
On February 26th, Trump posted a bizarre AI video of Trump Gaza. On April 7th, Trump describes Gaza as incredible oceanfront property.
Well, you know how I feel about the Gaza Strip. I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate, and I think it's something that we would be involved in, but, you know, having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip would be a good thing.
On July 14th, Trump referred to Israel's 2005 removal of its ground troops and settlements from the Gaza Strip as one of the worst real estate deals ever made.
I call it the Gaza Strip, one of the worst real estate deals ever made. They gave up the oceanfront property, one of the worst deals ever made.
On September 17th, Israeli Finance Minister Smotrich claimed the deal to rebuild Gaza was on Trump's desk and described it as a real estate bonanza.
There is a business plan built by the most professional people, which is on President Trump's desk. How this thing turns into a real estate bonanza, I'm not joking, it pays for itself. By the way, I started negotiations with the Americans, and I'm saying this seriously now because I'm also demanding. After all, we paid a lot of money for this war, so we need to share. How do we make percentages on land marketing later in Gaza? But now, no, not joking, the demolition phase which is always the first phase in urban renewal. We did. Now we need to build.
Trump has chosen war criminal Tony Blair to oversee the rebuilding of Gaza. And on September 24th, the Central Synagogue in Manhattan explained how the gods demand human blood for humanity to survive.
The greatest lie humanity tells itself is that we have outgrown human sacrifice. We call it by different names now and make our offering to different gods. We offer young men we call soldiers, as if the designation means that their mothers cry less when they die. We call masses of humanity collateral damage and turn our eyes away from the pictures of their lifeless bodies as we sip our morning coffee. And the truth is, we don't do it because we are heartless. We do it because we believe that it is necessary for the world to keep running. We do it because we believe that the gods whose favor we so desperately seek, freedom, security, prosperity, flourishing, that they demand blood as the price of their favor. We do it because we cannot see any other choice. When Abraham prepares to sacrifice Isaac, he is just accepting the same bargain of blood we still accept today, that some need to die for the world to flourish.
Now, this is something that we're close to finalizing. We haven't done it yet. But they'd put up $500 million. Interest and everything else would go to that account, meaning go to the trade school. And, it's a big investment in trade school, done by very smart people. And then their sins are forgiven. So we have a good chance of getting that close. Yeah, please.
Mr. President Trump, thank you.
So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
But this is the greatest president for Jews and for Israel in the history of the world, not just America. Trump's the best president for Israel in the history of the world. And the Jewish people love him like he is the king of Israel. They love him like he is the second coming of God. Good for Jews, good for blacks, good for gays. He's good for everyone in America who wants a job. Barney, thank you.
We achieved more in 6 months than almost any administration could accomplish in 8 years, and we're going to have a lot of good 6 months left. We're going to have a 6 and another 6 and another 6, so we'll keep going, and we're going to really do something.
We're going to have a 6 and another 6 and another 6, so we'll keep going.
Money, overstating how much he has, bragging about test scores, about his cognitive test, about the size of crowds at his inauguration, about the size of crowds at his rallies, his TV ratings, all numbers to prove, like, I am the best. What I do is the best. Was he that way before? Like, did you notice that before he became president?
Oh, yeah. That's one thing we can say about Donald is he has been consistently himself for decades. I can't really think of any way in which he's evolved or changed from the person he was when he was a teenager. Now, obviously, I wasn't alive when he was a teenager, but there's a reason my dad nicknamed him the Great I Am when Donald was 12.
What did he mean by that?
He meant that, nobody could be as good. Donald was always the best and claimed to be the best at everything and the greatest and etc.
Alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, President Donald Trump put forth an ambitious plan for the Middle East that he hopes brings, quote, eternal peace, quote, eternal peace.
The biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. This system is in place, and I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
So when we come to the book of Daniel, chapter 11, scholars do believe that this references the end-time Antichrist, or as the New Testament calls him, the beast, or the lawless one, the man of sin, the little horn, or little shofar, little trumpet. They call it the little trump. The little horn rises up making great boasts, and this little trump or this little horn rises up and destroys 3 kings or kingdoms represented by 3 other horns. But it makes great boast. For some reason, this man of sin is represented by a great sense of self, ego, narcissist talk, also uses flatteries and empowers people to continue to promote the kingdom that he is establishing on earth under this technological tyranny that the Bible says would come under a tracking system in order to buy and sell. You can't be without it. But if you go down to this, it's really worth the read. But it talks about how there's resistance. People say, "Oh, the Antichrist isn't going to have any resistance." No, the Bible talks about the Antichrist having resistance, especially from the north of Israel, because it's talking about the geographical location of Israel. There's problems in the north that trouble him, Russia. There's also trouble from the east, China, that would come. And these battles that he would engage in are chronicled here. But it also says that he's going to have proximity to Israel. So I had talked to my wife about this, and I said, the person that we call this Antichrist has to have some kind of a base near Israel. It wasn't just a few days later that this Trump Gaza video came out that was referenced in this video, and it was said at that time that Trump would oversee and parcel out for peace the land that is Gaza, which actually was a part of the land of Israel, going back in ancient times, the geographical area that they were supposed to have, and that wasn't supposed to be parceled out, as the scripture says. And so what they're doing now, under Trump's administration and under Trump's authority, as he has now stated, and it's been stated that the U.S. will own and administrate, and he is actually going to be the chairman of the board of this oversight of rebuilding Gaza into I was going to say hellscape, but I just think it's interesting that the scriptures here talk about this. If you go here to Daniel chapter 11, and you go down, let's just start at 43. He will gain control over the treasures of gold and silver and all the riches of Egypt and the Libyans and the Cushites in submission. But reports from the east and from the north will alarm him, and he will set out in a great rage to destroy and annihilate many. He will pitch his royal tents between the seas at the beautiful holy mountain. Now, the seas obviously are the Mediterranean there, right? And the holy mount of Israel, which would be the Temple Mount, in between there is Gaza. So he's going to establish some kind of base there. Now, this happened to come out at the time when I was telling my wife, at the very time, it was probably within 24 hours, it becoming news, 24 to 48 hours, it became headline news that Trump was doing this deal, and he released this Trump Gaza video, which many people will remember was shocking. And it says that yet he will come to his end and no one will help him. And this is at the time when Jesus returns. Remember, Trump stated that he would in no way allow the end times to take place. Jesus could not come back, because in the Bible it prophesies Jesus' return and confrontation of this man of sin, and that he destroys him and his kingdom at that point. Trump stated very clearly that the prophets and their predictions of the end times, he himself, and he said it twice to enforce the message, he himself would not allow it to happen.
The Middle East is rapidly changing. There are prophets that say the world will come to an end in the Middle East. You know that, right? And we have weapons today that are so scary. When you look, I rebuilt them all. There are great philosophers that said the world will end in the Middle East. We're not going to let that happen. You've heard that expression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They said the world will end someday in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to let that happen. Okay?
Well, listen, thank you so much.
And if you look at the guest, when he says that, he automatically cuts. If you go back to that clip and look closely, he looks really uncomfortable. And then he says, okay, thank you very much. I think he just got weirded out. I think that's what really happened at that moment. Because who are you to say to the prophets of old, of the New Testament and the Old Testament, that you are not going to allow Jesus to return and for the end of all things to come to a culmination at the time of Christ? Who are you to tell God that you will not let him culminate the age? Because that's what the prophets predict would happen. And you cannot stop what God says is going to happen. He knows the end from the beginning. There is no man on earth, even though Trump claims to be second to Jesus, and he literally has stated that.
Somebody said to me the other day, you're the most famous person in the world by far. I said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. They said, yes, you are. I said, no. They said, who's more famous? I said, Jesus Christ.
There is no other popular human ever on planet Earth than him.